Good morning, all.
Good morning.
This morning, I'm privileged to take this opportunity to welcome both parties, the Internal Revenue Commission, Commissioner General, with Acting Commissioner Tax and the staff, and also welcome Governor Honorable Robert Agaro of Central Province, and the Acting Provincial Administrator, Francis Palmer, with your party. We have come here to sign this memorable MOU between IRC and Central Province. The signing of the MOU will pave the way for us to work together as authorities for the government to enhance cooperation, hopefully maximize revenue collection for the good of the province. So once again, welcome IRC officials plus the Central Province team led by our governor as well as our acting provincial administrator. It was during the inaugural Central Province Agro and Tourism Expo in Quiquila. I met these two great gentlemen who visited our IRC stall. That's when I made a mention of this important document. And our good brother, acting provincial administrator, asked me to email a copy of the MOU draft, which I did. And here we are today, witnessing the signing. So thank you very much, Central Province. I'm from Central Province. Yeah. We have been involved in signing the MOUs, all the provinces except my southern region, Oro, Central, and City. Those are the three remaining ones. And with yours, and hopefully we'll sign the Oro one next week.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. So without further ado, CG, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Auka. Thank you, Governor and Acting PA. Well, I don't know whether you've been in this building, but welcome. As you can see, we have, I think, nearly half of our staff probably would be from Central Province. I don't know. Or some from within the city. We put a lot of people from around here who are working here, but at the same time, most of our work is within this capital city. So, but thank you for making time available. Couple of things. Firstly, the signing will actually formalize sort of our relationship and sharing of information and resources and efforts collecting taxes. I know most of the taxes for the Central Province are collected within the city. That's why we have this issue that is ongoing. We hope that that matter is resolved soon by the court. But while that is pending, we're also seeing in the outskirts of the city boundaries, we see a lot of business activities also emerging as well. So what we are doing at the moment is we are doing a taxpayer mapping activity. And we are also initiating a project that we hope to undertake it during the Christmas holidays. That's for the city as well as the Central Province. We involve the students to collect data on who's operating under what TIN number, doing what business, where, this sort of thing. So once when we identify all those businesses, some of them are having the, well, like for instance, they're probably having a cement factory out in Laloki to the outside of the NCDC bounds, but probably having the headquarters still in Mosby, paying the taxes through attributed as NCD. So that's something that we will be identifying separate in this exercise that we do. We also have Quiquila, Kupiano, and a couple of other places that are coming up as well. So we like get all of them register themselves and be identified as central. The second thing is we are also rolling out the small business tax regime. I think when you visited our stall out there, you would have been aware of what we are trying to do. This is a very good platform that the government, of which you are part of, has introduced to at least nurture all the budding businesses. So that's something that we're rolling it out, and we understand that you are also looking at the assembly space for your people in Central Province. Something that we would like to partner. The third thing I would like to mention is I have a letter here that I'll give it to you. That Section 65A project that we've been initiating and we have been rolling out for quite some time. We launched the second phase of it last week, Friday. That's the rolling it out to sub-national government level, of which central and provinces within central can also participate. Now, the beauty of it is that the 10% of all your contractors and suppliers, you will be told it, and you will pay to us on account of your suppliers. Now, if we roll it out to the three districts of central, that 10% will also be withheld and wired directly to us through the IFM system. But when we return the 60%, the 60% will not go to the districts, but it will come to the central province. So if a Bao district expends 10 million and 10 million in a year, and then out of which 10% is collected by us, then you're expecting 60% of the 10% coming back to central province. So in a way, we will also push the GST distribution portion that we give to you every month. So that's those are the three things that I wanted to highlight. But otherwise, we bought a new Toyota Land Cruiser for Mr. Hauka for central and southern regions, so mostly it's where we are. We are expecting to carry out some of the operations. But if we need some assistance, we'll let you know. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Alcom. And thank you, all the team from IRC and PA and our team from Central Coastal Government. Coming in as a governor and being a businessman myself, I try to find a balance between the two and how they operate. I had to learn on the run. And in government, I realized, and I know that governments are not here to make money for profit. We generate our revenue from tax, from licensing fees, from fines, and through resource owners, public resource own our own provinces, through royalties and levies and things like that. So my task was very big, especially with Central Province, when there's a lot happening around us yet we're not involved in. And so getting the foundation and structures right was the biggest task that we had. And that's why I put a petition in Parliament in 2018, was to, before I start, have a reference point to start addressing the issues of Central Coastal Government. That's why I registered in Parliament. It was a reference point for us, so that Parliament was supposed to set up a parliamentary committee to investigate our issues going back 135 years then, when the white men came, and a lot of things happened after that. So every time we have issues, we raise the issues. It's always about they go to court. And we all know that in court lawyers only get to interpret what the laws are. So we decided to go to the highest house, to the legislative house, to investigate and amend laws so that cerebral people can be recognized, and what rightfully belongs to us will be given to us. So in the process of doing all of that, we have gone out and done what we call a treasure hunt. We went on a treasure hunt to find out what rightfully belongs to us. That means it's land in terms of land, properties, trust accounts, GST and all of that. So that we came up with a smart provincial plan on how to grow the economy. We realized that past politicians had a certain way of doing things. It was always about how much money is coming in and then how they were going to spend it. And that's all they did. A lot of money went to churches, a lot of money went to sports, all these other things where, just getting money and spending. We wanted to come up with a smart plan where we got 90% of our people involved. As a governor, my job is to improve the living standards of my people. And if I've done that, then I would have achieved something. So we put a smart plan together, and it is addressing the economy, agriculture, tourism, and sports. We've broken it down one crop per district for identity purposes. So about cocoa, Golala coffee, Rigo livestock, Imitano, Karuku rice, and a coconut everywhere. Anybody who wants to grow anything else, you do it under the one crop per farmer concept. So even in Karuku you can grow cocoa. We still support the program. You just add on to the Abao store. And we did it for a reason. Abao was supposed to be the southern region's nursery for cocoa. And that's why we choose that. Golala, any other crop to bring it in from Golala is too expensive, we price it at the market. So coffee is heavily subsidized in terms of price subsidy and freight subsidy. So you can still make money in coffee here. You can buy it 6 kilo per kilo, and you can export it about 13 kilo per kilo. So there is margins there. So that's why we say coffee. Once our roads open up, then we do every other vegetable. But at the moment, we concentrate on coffee. Kairuku rice, because Kairuku have been growing rice ever since the missionary scale. We've got 8 species of rice. We're now starting to harvest commercially. For the first time now, we've harvested like 20 tons of rice. And by the end of the year, hopefully we're looking at over 200 tons of rice every harvest. So we are now, kicking ourselves. We can't keep up with the what do you call it, the production that the people are starting to deliver. So we've got those structures in place. Tourism, we're looking at the homestay concept where we want tourists to come. When you talk about tourism and hospitality and tourism, everybody thinks of a resort or thinks of a hotel. Bulk of people can afford it. So we're doing the homestay concept where tourists come and live in the communities, live in the houses. And if the people can afford, they can build another house for privacy, so you can go and rent a house like another Airbnb arrangement. Or you can just build a pata. That's what I tell people. Put mosquito net, put clean bed sheets and mattress, good place to cook, clean water, good sanitation. And tourists will come and stay because they want to know and understand what we're doing. So we put all those in place, and then we promote the cottage industry. We want everybody to have chicken, look after village cream chicken, fish farming, look after have a vegetable for plot, for food security, look after goats for milk. So when tourists you go out, after roaming around the village, when you're hungry, you know that the supermarket is behind the house. That concept. We're promoting fish farming because we don't want our people to overfish in the reefs. When tourists go out to dive and swim, they want to see a living reef. They want to see living creatures in the sea. They don't want to go and dive in an empty reef. So we are telling them you can make more money from a living fish than a dead one. So these are the messages that we're giving our people. These are commercial messages that we're now trying to massage into the systems of people. So in doing all of that, we're also promoting SME. The government has put about 200 million through the banks to access, but you know very well that none of these SMEs are able to access this money because the criteria of the bank are very, very, very high. So we have structured around it. We've registered a business arm called Anian, one of our business arms. And Anian's job is to bring the market to the doorsteps of our people. So our people don't have to worry about coming to town looking for PME, getting harassed in town in the markets. Central and NCD, we're supposed to co-share sporting fields, co-share markets, co-share GST. To this day, we don't co-share anything. We fight tooth and nail to get a little bit of the GST from them. So these are the fights that we've constantly been having with NCD, and they become very, very greedy in this process. So we try to solve our people's issue. We tell them, stay at home, and then they will come and pick up all your crops. We process it and we sell for them. We find a market. And that's why the one crop per district, one crop per farmer concept. It's about scale of market. So we identify the market and we know what our people are growing, so we can then push the produce. We're now building a big market, we call a farmers market at October. It's just with the procurement process. Chairman is here and PA here. Once it goes through tomorrow, they're telling me we should start building the market now, where we buy everything from our people, we process there and then we sell it to the market in the city and we prepare for export overseas. We are also, you notice that we're building border posts. The border post with my fight with NCD on land encroachment, it is more than just a political statement. The border posts are to show very clear boundaries on where NCD starts and NCD stops. But this infrastructure also economic infrastructures, because we want to start regulating, controlling, managing at these points. So for example, CPTA or Central Public Transport Authority will be running. When cars come in, we check for their licenses, we check their registration. On top of that, we check for roadworthiness, and then we will also check ownership of vehicles. We also want to regulate to a point that you cannot drive your father's vehicle because of ownership. Because there's a lot of stolen vehicles in the city. So if you're going to drive somebody else's vehicle, you must have a step to actually authorize you to drive the vehicle. We're also going to check on ownership because 90% of the PMBs that run the Route 300 into Central Province are not owned by Central Province people. They're owned by outsiders. They come in under the disguise of, Central Province people, owning them, and then they register them and they run the PMB. With this now, we will know exactly who owns PMBs so that we restrict this type of business for our own people. You will also notice that 90% of taxis that operate in the city are stolen vehicles. So we will identify them there. Anything that doesn't belong to the driver, we will impound and we will put in the yard at the border post. They have to come with proof of ownership later on and pay a fine to take it. So these are some of the laws that we are now trying to amend at the provincial level. We're introducing to the provincial level to start enforcing at the border post. We also want to regulate, like for example, run logging. We want to ban run logging into NC in line with the national government's plans. So anything that comes in timber that comes into NCD has to be timber. So when logging companies come in with the timber, we want to make sure that even the vehicles have the right weight. So we send them to the weigh station. If they're over the weight limit, we hit them with a heavy penalty. We charge them for that. They can't pay the fine, they pick up their vehicle. Every day it's parked in the yard, we hit them with a penalty for storage charge. We also then will ask them on a current permit. They have to have a current, logging permit. And if they don't have it, same thing, we impound everything. We also want to check on any foreigner that's coming into the province. We want to check, they will have to tell us their business in the province. And if they're coming as tourists, we want to make sure that we identify the tourist visa. They have to have a tourist visa. If they're here for business, we want to see the business visa. To say that there's the foreigners around here who are not supposed to do business but are doing business in the province. We also want to regulate our 3 nautical mile zone, our marine zone. The niche market eating is men, prawns, mud crab. And we want to regulate that. We're saying that anybody that comes in, you can buy all that, but you only buy under 1 kilo per person. Anything at 1 kilo and above, you have to have a permit to buy. Otherwise, we hit you under the poaching law. So we are now trying to regulate and control. If you want to buy in large quantities, you go down to the provincial government and you pick up your license. So you have to pay for a license to be able to go and do business within the city. For SME as well, we're trying to regulate movement of goods into the province. Like for example, beer. You can't take beer from NCD into Central Province. Because if you want to take beer to Central Province, you have to buy the beer in Central Province. You have to go and shop there. It'll eventually go on to commercial goods, in commercial quantities. You want to buy rice, sugar, whatever for bright price, you want to take it in the province, you have to have a trading license to buy commercial quantities, like a trade store. You must have a trade store license, you must have a wholesale license. So in that way, you will see that we are now promoting our SMEs to get into bigger businesses. The idea behind it as well is that why should you pay your tax in NCD and go and dump your rubbish in Central? You see, so you want to dump your rubbish and come into Central Province and dump your rubbish there, you got to pay your taxes there. So time you lose some rubbish, now you come back, we can then organize our own contractors there to start doing the cleaning up and maintaining and sustaining the infrastructure that we put into tourism. So the border ports you see are economic infrastructures. And why we are saying that we want to check everybody that's going in and out is because we want to also call up data. We want to know the scale of tourism, the business and tourism that's in the province. Are we getting any better? We want to know how many tourists are moving into the province. We want to see how many businesses are starting to move into the province. Any business that's going in and out of the border, we will also check on their IPA records. We want to see that they are registered with IPA. We want to see the TIN number. We will know whether they are paying the taxes within NCD or they're paying the taxes. So the border posts, you can see that we can regulate and control everything that goes in the province for a good reason. So then too is in a pocket process. Hopefully by tomorrow it should get be processed, and then we start building. Whatever we start building now is from some of the revenue that we have. But we have money parked there already to copy this. So we're going to build 5 water posts on every road into the province. So one at Baltimore, one at Rebada Junction, one at Galoki, one at 14 Mile, and one at Apanai, the Region Gulf and Central Port. So these structures are going as we speak. And we have set up an assembly committee that's looking at boundaries and looking at text, reviewing all these laws that as we speak at the moment. So, you know, this is timely with the commission, and hopefully with the ideas that we have, you can tell us whether we are operating within the boundaries of law or not. We're doing our own due diligence, and you can come and assist. We also had this conversation with the European Union. They've asked me what assistance I need in the province, and I told them that I just needed assistance in terms of technical people in planning and structuring the whole province in regards to this. So they've agreed to give us a team of technical officers to assist us in GST as well. I think they've also talked to you guys. Yeah. So that's in place. Because of COVID, you know, they've slowed down a little bit, but we have prepared to work around this. So Commissioner and the team, thank you very much. We have embarked on a journey now to take back what rightfully belongs to us. And you're well aware as well that as we are fighting our GST battle with IRC, we're also pushing to change the NCDC Act, amend the NCDC Act. So that's in progress at the moment, so we'll have the discussion with you and your team as well to comment on it before I push it to Parliament. Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for signing, I guess. That's it. Seems like a lot of things going on, so what we could say is wish you all the best. But wherever we can help, we will assist. We'll help our people. Thank you. We're doing the signing up. I got to head off to PM, so. You will be with this. It's, Stephanie, you need to with this. Governor, you- some very, very interesting concepts here. Lighten up some of these things. I believe that we can provide a cohesive environment. Or even control of COVID for that.
Yes, that's part of it as well.
But this is, as I said, section 65A. So it's being rolled out. You guys use IFMS? Okay. What your manager for finance should have attended the meeting yesterday or last week? Did you guys attend the meeting up at
Vicky.
Okay.
Yes.
Our team would have taken you through.
Yeah,